Just kind of your impressions of the offense after going back and watching.
We were cleaner than we were against Kansas State. We still struggled at times, and we got to continue to work and get better. We know our guys know that what's ahead of us is real, and credit to Louisiana Tech. That's a good team. They played OU first game of the year, and when you watch their game film against OU, we knew that the previous game they had gotten beat, Louisiana Tech, was kind of not the norm. It was an anomaly a little bit because OU really struggled. It was kind of ugly and a strain like our game was a little bit, and so they did a really good job. They had a good plan. Did some good things that were new that we had to adjust to in game, and I thought our guys overall were able to overcome that, and we made some big plays when we needed them.
What does do the third down issues? It seemed like when you look overall, you're doing well, leading the nation, or you were going into it, but really that's first and third quarters. You were over.
Yeah, we weren't very good on third down. They did a good job on defense. They had some good adjustments that we adjusted to throughout the game that they had not shown before, and we got to get our guys in some good plays in those situations so they can make plays. We had been pretty good. I mean, like I said, we were leading the country going into this game, so that'll be a big point of emphasis, of course, next week, as it will everything else. But we weren't very good on third down, and we got to be better. That's what ultimately caused us to punt as much as we did. We weren't able to stay on the field, and we got to do better.
Go with that, Rhett. A lot of those third downs that were fails were third and long situations in particular.
Yeah.
Not to put it all on the quarterback because those are very low probability plays, but just how important does that make Cap on first down in particular? Because a lot of his average on first down is very good to put you in those second and medium, second and short spots. Just how crucial is it to have the success on first down? I mean, it's obvious, but how much does it speak to it? Because when you're getting third and long, you weren't having success.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're playing, who your quarterback is, third and long and third and long. Third and 7+ is a lot lower percentage of picking up than third and 6 or less. I mean, that's just a given. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, you're going to see those percentages be pretty consistent. And so first down is huge. It's always good to get ahead of the chains to where you're in a second 6 or less. And usually when you're in that situation, you're going to have a third and manageable. We had a couple more negative plays than we've had in the past. We had a sack. We had I think a reverse that was a negative play. We had a couple plays that got us behind the chains. I think we had a holding call as well. Things that are a little uncharacteristic of us, but you're right. We've been better at third downs the first 3 games because we've been ahead of the chains most of the time. And when you're ahead of the chains, obviously the type of looks you get are different, but then you also have the threat of a run as a possibility too, so it makes the defense play you different. And we did. We had a lot of third and longs. And we got to do a lot of things. We got to be better run the ball on first down. We got to be better throwing the ball on first down. We just got to do a better job of staying ahead of the game. So, you want to have no more than 1 to 2 or 3 third and longs in a game if you can help it. And that's something we were good at last year on first and second down, and something we weren't very good at yesterday.
Rhett, I guess LSU has much more success slowing you guys down as anybody. Is there something specific about them other than obviously they got talented players?
Yeah. Obviously they got great talented players every year. It's always a great game, Auburn and LSU. John Chavis has done it for a long time, and they have. They whipped us last year, especially in the first half. Our guys, should be very motivated to play better in this game, and there's no question we've struggled a little bit against LSU in the past. I think it's a great credit to them and to Coach Chavis. They do a really good job of what they do. They're really good at it, and it's going to be a good challenge for us to try to redeem ourselves and play well.
What have you seen out of Cameron Toney in the week you've had him, and what do you expect out of him the rest of the season?
We're just in the early stages, just trying to see if it's a fit or not. So it's not. I wouldn't read too much into it yet. It's just, is it a situation where we can help our team this year or not? And he's a smart kid. He's a tough kid, so he's done well so far. CJ and Brandon will continue to be the guys playing that spot. But we're about to hit that grind where I think 7 of the next 8 games are SEC opponents where physically you never know what's going to happen. So you're always trying to stay a step ahead of the game.
What kind of production have you gotten out of the HVAC so far?
It's probably been like our offense, a little bit inconsistent. There's things Brandon's done really well. There's other things that he's still working on to get better. And so, you know, and I think CJ's done a nice job at times. We've moved CJ around more and played different spots than Brandon. But like I said, I think we're 4 games in, about last year, about 3 or 4 games in, you really started to feel okay. Because you got enough game reps on everybody, personnel. I said, okay, this is what they're really good at. This is what maybe we need to keep them out of these situations when we can. And so you try to build around the strengths. And Brandon's been good at the point of attack. He made good decisions in the game yesterday on some things he had to read. We just got to continue to rep him on some things that he just needs to keep accumulating more reps on so he can execute the block better.
Rhett, how did the offensive line grade out there with the flip with Chad and Avery?
I think they did pretty good. You know, of course, we had to play musical chairs a little bit with Pat going down in the middle of the game and some other things. So overall, they did well. You know, physically, we did well when we were locked on. You know, when you move a guy like, you know, Avery started the game, boom, he popped back out to tackle real quick. And so I thought Devontae Danzy did a good job of stepping in there and playing well for us.
Is that something where you guys at all, do you grade on like a curve? Does it get an asterisk when you have to make like a mid-game adjustment or
Coach
anything like
Grimes
that?
grades him. He's pretty black and white with it. And, you know, I don't know off the top of my head his grades, but
Yeah.
I think overall most of the guys did well, but we could play better.
Speaking of Pat, was he able to go today at all?
Yeah, well, all the guys were out there, and we're kind of day-to-day with those guys, but you know,
Mhm.
we'll just kind of see how they progress throughout the week.
When Duke was being recruited, you were really going up against LSU pretty heavy with that, and a lot of the concern purportedly was just the concern of
Yeah.
how much of the passing game he would be used kind of thing. When you're going up against a team who's going up, how much do you see, when players go up against guys who recruited them previously, that happens all the time, but how much do you see Duke using this as a possible motivator or anything like that?
You know, one thing I've learned about Duke is he's a competitor, man. He loves to compete. He's ready to play each week. It doesn't really matter who we're playing. He's ready to play. Of course, Louisiana being his home state, you know, I'm sure it's a special, important game to him. But we're not going to talk a lot about it. We're going to go about our business. He's a great player that we need to give him the ball. And, you know, I was proud of the way he played without the ball yesterday. The way the game unfolded, he did a really good job. And I'm sure there's some special meaning to him on that, but all those things are great, but at the end of the day, when the game starts, it's a big game, no matter where you're from.
Yeah, how different is Quan? I mean, he stepped it up in a lot of different
Yeah.
areas, but looks quicker, looks more explosive. You've
Yeah.
seen him just kind of take off.
Yeah, that's what you hope. You know, seniors, there's usually a little more urgency. It's their last chance. He's our only senior receiver, so you know, you have those expectations. He played great yesterday. Thought it was one of his best all-around games he's had. I mean, obviously the 2 touchdown catches were great, but he's become a great punt returner for us, which is huge. Really lifted our team. But he played great all around. I mean, it wasn't like he just had 3 great plays. He graded out and played well the whole game, and that's what we need from him because he's a pretty explosive player. Got a lot of things he does well. He's smart. He's been in the system for 4 years. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and he can help lead those guys. And I was really proud of him making those big plays right before half, and then when we needed one in the second half.
Going back to
You guys seen here recently just to make that decision to switch up Chad and Avery, and how did they end up doing when you guys were able to stick with that lineup?
When they were in there, I think they did well. It was pretty quick. It was like 15 plays in when we went back. So it was just a change we thought was best, and both guys have taken to it well, and we'll just kind of see where we go from here. But you know, we had a whole week to work them. I don't think we had any issues that stood out in those first 15 or so plays until we had to make another switch because of Pat getting nicked up.
Going back to Duke, how important is he, you know, this year against LSU secondary that's been really good last few years? What does he bring different heading into this year?
He's huge when you get into really anybody but our league because you're going to get more man coverage. So it gives us another receiver that can win against man coverage. Last year we were kind of limited with Sammy. It also is just huge in general because it makes it hard for people to double and take certain guys away when we got more than one guy. You know, Duke's proven that he can win versus zone, win versus man, but it's going to be a great luxury for us no matter who we're playing. But a week like this week, they got really long, athletic guys that can cover. Hopefully our big wideouts will match up well and play well against them, and we can make some plays.
Nick mentioned that you encouraged him just to look for opportunities where you pull the ball down and kind of make a play with his feet, that 31-yard run, obviously. How do you tell him to do that and still look downfield and all that stuff?
Well, it's a fine line, and early on didn't as much, but you know, Nick's got an ability to make plays, and you know, still want him to go through his progression. He's proven that he's matured to the point that he's going to look to be a passer first. He's not going to be a guy who just drops back and tries to take off running. He's trying to throw the ball first, and if he goes through his progressions and it's not there, he needs to feel confident to let his instincts take over and go make plays. Or if protection breaks down, feel confident to let his instincts take over, which he did a couple times yesterday. And I think most time when he did, it was positive for us with a big long run and a scramble touchdown. So, I think he's to the point where he plays within the system. We can trust him. He makes good decisions. There was a couple of times yesterday we put him in a bad play, and last year he'd have probably thrown it, and it might have been intercepted. Yesterday he pulled it down. I think he ends up hitting Sammy on the backside, not even in the route. I mean, he was not even a secondary option. He flips back, hits Sammy, gets a completion right in a 2-minute drive. And then there was another time it wasn't there. He pulled it down, he scrambled, and made a play. So, it's just the more reps he gets, the more you trust him. But I want him to feel confident to use his God-given ability as well. I thought he did a good job of that.
What
A couple more.
decision to play Stanton Truitt, and how do you see him helping you guys this year?
Well, Stan's explosive, and it's kind of been a back and forth thing for us. I think it came to the point when Coach Fountain said he could help us on special teams. That helped. And, man, he's a great kid. He's smart. He's explosive. And we're getting into this schedule now with these next 8+ games where, a lot of these young guys that are playing hadn't played as much, but they're one play away. We saw that with Devontae Danzy yesterday. They're one play away at any point in time from going in and playing a whole lot of minutes. And so it was good to get his feet wet. He got I think his first play offensively anyways was a catch. And so that was good for him because, there's a chance that a receiver or two goes down. We're going to have to shuffle some guys around. And he'd be in the mix. So.
Rhett,
I know it can get a little, irritating for a player that is battling back from injury when they know they're not at full speed. How has Sammy handled things these last couple of weeks? And do you feel like that he's just on a breaking point and getting back where he was at?
Yeah, he's handled it well. I mean, naturally it's frustrating. When you work hard all off season and you're ready to have a big year, and then right out of the gates you kind of have a little bit of a hiccup. But his attitude's been great. He's come to work hard. He's done everything he can do to get on the field the last 2 weeks. It's kind of one of those things that's just going to progress better and better each week is what we're told and what we hope. And the one thing he's done a good job of, naturally it's frustrating, but he hasn't let that show. He's been really positive, and obviously we're going to need him. So, we're glad he's getting better each week.
When you guys are making the case about how he's going to be used during the recruiting process, I mean, when you're making the case of just how he's going to be used in the passing game and everything, and trying to assure some of those doubts, was there an individual player you guys were pointing to? Was it whether there's a McKissick or somebody from Tulsa or something like that, or was it just the overall track record of how the passing game was?
I think it was the overall. I mean, you can go all the way back. We've had 3 1,000-yard receivers on the same team. We've had a freshman All-American catch over 100 balls. Darvin Adams, the first year we were here, broke the school record in receptions. Sammy last year led the league in yards per catch, led the country most of the year. So we feel like we've had great track record getting playmakers the ball. And that's what we try to do the most, whether you're a receiver, a running back, quarterback, tight, it doesn't matter. We try to get our guys in position to get the ball. And that's the main thing. We just say, hey, you come here and you work hard, you earn the spot, we're going to get you the ball. I mean, we'd be crazy not to. And I think, Coach Craig did a good job, Coach Miles on all of us, and he bought into that.
Duke comes from kind of a tough area in Louisiana. So how much did you promote the opportunity to get away from some of that, some of that background stuff and make his own place here?
Yeah. We really just sold Auburn. Auburn's a great place. He came here and fell in love with it. I think, home is home to anybody, but I think he was interested in maybe a fresh start somewhere. But he fell in love with it. We tried to sell what we had to offer. We had a great need, and it just kind of worked out.
All right.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Rhett.